This is how men test the women they want, not with a checklist, not with obvious questions. They test you in the moments where it would be easiest for you to give yourself away. The first test is time. If he cancels on you, if he shows up late without respect, he is watching. Not because he wants to be cruel, but because he wants to see what you do with disrespect. Do you smile and act like it's no big deal, or do you calmly make it clear that your time has value? If you let it slide again and again, you've already told him the truth. Your time is not worth much, not even to you. The second test is alignment. Anyone can say, I won't accept less. Anyone can post the quotes about knowing your worth, but the test comes when he pushes against that. Do you hold your standard when the moment is inconvenient, or do you cave because you want him to like you? Men listen less to your words and more to your consistency. Every time you break your own boundary, you've shown him what's real. The third test is your confidence in absence. When he pulls away a little, when he gets quiet, when he doesn't text back right away, he's not always playing games. Sometimes life just happens, but what he sees is how you respond to the gap. Do you lose yourself? Do you panic and chase? Or do you remain calm, knowing your value doesn't shrink because he's not staring at you in this moment? A woman who collapses when attention disappears, shows him her worth, depends on his validation. A woman who stays grounded shows him she's already complete. The fourth test is pressure. At some point, he'll disappoint you. He'll say something careless. He'll do something thoughtless. He'll test your emotional energy. Do you explode? Do you attack? Do you drag every wound into the present moment? Or do you handle it with calm authority? This isn't about being emotionless. It's about being powerful. If your emotions control you, you become exhausting. If you control your emotions, you become unforgettable. The fifth test is whether you have a life. Men are attracted to women who are already full, already alive, already moving towards something bigger than the relationship. If your world shrinks the moment he arrives, he knows you are dependent. If your world stays wide, if you bring him into your full, rich life, he knows being with you means expansion. He feels inspired because you are growing. And if you are growing, he must grow to keep up. And the final test, the ultimate one, is this: can you walk away? Every man knows that the woman who cannot leave him will eventually tolerate anything. But the woman who has the courage to lose him rather than lose herself commands a different kind of respect. She is the woman who sets the tone. She is the woman who makes him rise, because he knows she is not afraid of absence. She is not afraid of loss. She is not afraid of being alone. And that is the kind of woman no man ever wants to lose. So let's be clear. These tests are not about games. They are not about manipulation. They are simply human nature. People push to see what they can get away with. Men do it. Women do it. And in the push, the truth is revealed. The truth is this: you do not get the respect you want. You get the respect you enforce. You do not get the love you dream of. You get the love you tolerate. And every test is not about him. It's about you. It's about whether you will bend until you break, or whether you will stand so tall that he either rises with you or walks away. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing him to choose you is the moment he feels he must. The moment you stop chasing is the moment he starts pursuing. The moment you show him that you will be fine without him is the moment he realizes he doesn't want to live without you. Because men are not inspired by desperation. They are inspired by certainty. Certainty in your standards. Certainty in your value. Certainty in the fact that your life is already full, with or without him. So when you are tested, don't panic. Don't break. Don't explain endlessly. Simply stand. Let your actions speak. Let your silence speak. Let your standards speak. Because the test is never about whether he likes you enough. The test is about whether you like yourself enough to hold the line. Because in the end, the women who pass the test are not the most beautiful. They are not the most charming. They are not the ones who gave the most. They are the women who refuse to give away their self-respect. And that is the kind of woman who doesn't just get chosen, she gets kept. The fastest way someone learns your value is by watching how you treat your own time. This is one of the most powerful tests a man will give you. And the truth is, he doesn't need to ask a single question. He simply shows up late. He cancels last minute. He offers excuses. He makes you wait. And in your response, he learns exactly who you are. Time is the most valuable currency you will ever have. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose opportunities and create new ones. But the hours of your life, the days you spend, you never get them again. And when you give your time to someone, you're not just giving them minutes on a clock. You're giving them your energy, your presence, your focus, your life. That's why this test matters so much. When a man wastes your time, he's not only testing his place in your life, he's testing your place in your own life. Do you honor yourself enough to enforce your boundaries, or do you allow your time to be treated like it has no value? Here's the mistake too many people make. They excuse it. He cancels and they say, it's fine. He disappears for days, then comes back with a weak excuse, and they smile and accept it. They let lateness slide. They let inconsistency slide. They let poor effort slide. And with every pass, they are teaching him something. My time doesn't matter. And if your time doesn't matter to you, it will never matter to him. The woman who passes this test is different. When he wastes her time, she doesn't scream. She doesn't beg. She doesn't argue. She simply makes a decision. My time is valuable. And if you cannot respect it, you cannot have it. That decision is powerful. That decision commands respect. That decision separates her from every other option he has. Because here's the truth, men are not impressed by how much time you give them. They are impressed by how much you value the time you give. If your time is too cheap, they take it for granted. If your time is precious, they protect it. People value what they have to earn. If your time costs nothing, it means nothing. This is why respecting your time is not just about setting boundaries with him. It's about setting boundaries with yourself. Stop saying yes when you want to say no. Stop waiting around for someone who is not showing up. Stop clearing your schedule for someone who does not respect yours. Every time you put your life on hold for someone else, you're telling the world, my life doesn't matter as much as theirs. And that is the habit that destroys self-worth. Men feel this test deeply. If he cancels and you immediately reschedule, he learns you're available at any price. If he's late and you still wait, he learns he can always waste your time. If he disappears and comes back to open arms, he learns he can take you for granted. But if he cancels and you don't rush to make it easy again, if he's late and you don't sit around waiting, if he disappears and you keep moving with your life, he learns something far more powerful. She respects her time more than she needs me. And that realization changes everything. Respecting your time also means raising your own standards. It means being intentional with who you give it to. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Not every person deserves your focus. Not every conversation deserves your energy. You don't have to be cruel. You simply have to be clear. The people who belong in your life will rise to that clarity. The ones who don't were never meant to stay. And let's be honest, this test is not just about men. Life itself is constantly testing whether you respect your time. Every distraction, every meaningless scroll, every moment you trade your goals for temporary comfort is a test. Do you respect yourself enough to use your time well, or do you waste it on things that drain you? The man in your life is simply a mirror of this larger truth. So when you feel tested, don't think of it as a punishment. Think of it as an invitation to stand tall, an invitation to enforce your standards, an invitation to prove, not to him, but to yourself, that you are a woman who values her time, her life, her worth. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop wasting your own time, others stop wasting it too. The moment you demand respect for your schedule, people show up differently. The moment you stop clearing your life for people who don't value you, the right people arrive who do. Respect for your time doesn't repel, it attracts. It attracts respect. It attracts devotion. It attracts people who are serious. So remember this, he's not just testing whether he can get away with disrespect. He's testing whether you respect yourself enough to stop him. And every moment you let slide is a lesson you're teaching him about how to treat you. Because in the end, the woman who passes this test is the one who refuses to trade her life for excuses. She is the one who teaches the world that her time is precious. She is the one who never begs for respect because she gives it to herself first. And that is the woman a man doesn't dare to waste because he knows he will lose her the moment he tries. Your words tell people what you want. Your actions tell people who you really are. And when they don't match, the truth always wins. This is one of the biggest tests a man gives a woman, not by asking, not by confronting, but simply by watching. He listens to your promises, to the standards you declare, to the boundaries you talk about, but then he pushes just a little to see if you actually live by them. Everyone can talk about self-respect. Everyone can say they won't accept less than they deserve. Everyone can post the quotes, share the wisdom, sound strong, but life doesn't test you with your words. It tests you with choices. A man knows this, and when he wants to know if you're real, he looks at what you do when your emotions pull against your principles. If you say, I don't tolerate disrespect, but you allow lateness, excuses, and broken promises, your words mean nothing. If you say, I value honesty, but you ignore lies because you're afraid to lose him, your words are just noise. If you say, I won't chase anyone, but the moment he pulls away, you're blowing up his phone, your actions have spoken louder, and he is listening. This is not about perfection. It's about alignment. Do you live by the same standards you expect from others? Do you embody the respect you demand? Do you follow through on the boundaries you set? These are the questions he asks himself, not consciously, but instinctively. And your actions give him the answers. The truth is, people don't believe what you say. They believe what you repeat. They believe the pattern. And if the pattern of your actions contradicts the strength of your words, they trust the pattern. Every time you break your own boundary, you're teaching him that your words are negotiable. Every time you go back on your standard, you're teaching him that your talk is a mask. Every time you compromise on the things you swore you wouldn't, you're teaching him that he never has to take you seriously. And here's the dangerous part. Once he learns your words don't match your actions, he stops respecting both. He stops respecting your boundaries because he knows you won't enforce them. He stops respecting your standards because he knows you'll bend them. He stops respecting your love because he knows it comes at the cost of your self-respect. But when your actions align with your words, you send a different message. You show him that you are serious, that you cannot be swayed by sweet talk or empty promises, that your no actually means no, and your yes actually means yes. And that kind of clarity, that kind of consistency makes you powerful because it teaches him that to be with you, he must step up, not just once, but every time. Passing this test doesn't require aggression. It doesn't require anger. It doesn't require long explanations. It requires calm consistency. If you say you won't accept lateness, you don't accept it. If you say honesty matters, you walk away from lies. If you say you won't chase, you don't. Not because you're punishing him, but because you're loyal to yourself. The truth is, the strongest women are not the ones who speak the loudest about their standards. They are the ones who quietly enforce them without apology. They don't beg someone to change. They hold their ground until the wrong person leaves and the right person rises. And here's the paradox. When a man realizes your actions back your words, he doesn't feel restricted. He feels inspired because deep down, men crave structure. They respect what is consistent. They value what is earned. And when your boundaries are real, he knows he has something rare, a woman whose love is strong because her self-respect is stronger. This is why the test matters. Because without alignment, you lose credibility. And without credibility, you lose respect. A man doesn't stay devoted to the woman who compromises herself to keep him. He stays devoted to the woman who stands firm, even when it costs her something. So the question is not, will he test your words? The question is, will you pass your own test? Will you live by the standards you speak about? Will you enforce the boundaries you declare? Will you act in alignment even when desire tempts you to bend? That's the real challenge. And understand this, every compromise you make against your own truth doesn't just affect him, it affects you. It eats away at your confidence. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you resent him. Because deep down, you know when you are betraying your own word. And that self-betrayal costs more than any relationship ever will. But when your words and actions align, you walk differently. You radiate certainty. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to demand respect. You embody it. And that embodiment is magnetic. It makes the right man lean in closer. It makes him realize that your love is not a prize he can talk his way into. It's a privilege he must earn with consistency. So remember this. The test is not about whether you can talk about your standards. The test is whether you can live them. The test is not about whether you can speak strength. The test is whether you can act with it. The test is not about whether you say you're valuable. The test is whether you treat yourself that way when it's hardest. Because in the end, anyone can speak strength. Few can live it. And the woman who lives it is the one who passes the test, not because of what she says, but because of who she is when her words and actions finally meet. This is one of the deepest tests a man will give you. Not with words, but with space. Not with promises, but with silence. He pulls back, he goes quiet, he doesn't compliment you, he stops giving constant reassurance. And in that moment, he is watching, not to be cruel, but to see, who are you without his validation? Do you collapse when he withdraws? Do you panic, chase, question your worth? Or do you remain steady, rooted in who you are, untouched by whether his attention is present or absent? Because the truth is, anyone can feel confident when they are being adored. But the real test of self-value is who you are when the attention disappears. If your worth rises and falls with his gaze, then you've already given him too much power. You've handed over control of your self-esteem. You've made him the mirror that decides if you shine. And once a man realizes you cannot feel valuable without his validation, he knows he never has to respect you. Why? Because your respect is already dependent on him. But the woman who passes this test is different. She does not beg for praise. She does not fall apart when attention fades. She does not chase silence with desperate noise. She continues to move, to live, to shine as if nothing has changed, because her value was never built on his validation. It was built on her own conviction. A man feels this instantly. He feels whether you need him to tell you that you're beautiful just to believe it. He feels whether you crumble when he doesn't text back quickly. He feels whether his approval is your oxygen, or whether you already breathe just fine without it. And make no mistake, the second he realizes you can't function without his validation, the test is failed. Why? Because validation is not love. Validation is not respect. Validation is temporary. And if your sense of worth is tied to something temporary, your strength will always be fragile. You'll always be at the mercy of someone else's moods, attention, and choices. Passing this test means being whole before he arrives. It means being full without needing constant topping up. It means knowing that if he gives you his admiration, it's appreciated, but it is not required for your confidence to exist. You do not chase compliments. You do not beg for attention. You know who you are, and nothing he withholds can take that away. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing validation, you attract it effortlessly, because confidence is magnetic. Certainty is irresistible. The woman who knows her worth without needing to be told is the woman who gets told the most, because a man cannot resist affirming what she already embodies. But if you chase validation, it runs. If you demand it, it resists. If you cling to it, it suffocates. That's why desperation kills attraction, because it says, my value only exists if you confirm it. And no man feels inspired to devote himself to someone who cannot stand tall without him. Think about it. Would you trust someone who only feels strong when you hold them up? Or do you admire the one who stands strong on their own and allows you to stand beside them? That is the difference between need and desire. Need drains. Desire inspires. The test of self-value is constant. It shows up not only in relationships, but in life. Do you value yourself when no one is clapping? Do you pursue your goals even when no one is watching? Do you keep your standards when no one is validating them? That is the true measure of strength. Because if your value disappears in silence, it was never real in the first place. Men know this test. They know that the woman who needs their validation will accept almost anything to get it. They know she will compromise her standards just to feel wanted. They know she will tolerate disrespect as long as she can still feel chosen. But the woman who does not need validation cannot be manipulated. She cannot be played. She cannot be broken by silence because she already knows who she is. This doesn't mean you don't enjoy admiration. Of course you do. Everyone does. But there is a difference between enjoying validation and needing it to survive. One is confidence, the other is dependency, and dependency always leads to loss. So the next time he pulls back, ask yourself, what story will you tell? Will you tell the story of panic, that if he's quiet, you must be unworthy? Or will you tell the story of power, that his silence does not erase your greatness? This choice is everything. This choice is the test. And the woman who passes it doesn't do so with words. She does it with her energy. She doesn't explain her worth. She embodies it. She doesn't demand attention. She commands it by never losing herself when it's gone. That energy is rare. That energy is magnetic. That energy is unforgettable. Because in the end, the test is simple. Do you value yourself when no one is watching? Do you believe in your worth when no one is praising you? Do you stand tall when the validation is absent? If the answer is yes, then you have passed the test. And the man who realizes this will know that he cannot break you with silence. He can only admire you for your strength. And that is the kind of woman no man ever wants to lose. This is one of the most revealing tests a man gives a woman. Not deliberately, not always consciously, but inevitably. Life is full of pressure. Relationships are full of disappointment. No one gets through without misunderstandings, frustrations, or unmet expectations. And when those moments come, he is watching. Not just what you say, but how you respond. Pressure exposes the truth. It strips away the mask of charm and reveals the core of a person's character. When things don't go your way, do you lose control? Do you spiral into blame, attack, or emotional chaos? Or do you stay calm, measured, in control of yourself, even when you cannot control the situation? That difference determines whether a man feels he can trust you in the long term. Here's the reality. If you fall apart at every setback, if every disappointment triggers an explosion, if every frustration turns into an argument, he learns quickly that being with you will cost him peace. And no amount of attraction can survive constant chaos. Desire fades when drama becomes the rhythm. But the woman who passes this test shows something rare. She shows that even under pressure, she has composure. She feels deeply, but she doesn't let her emotions own her. She experiences disappointment, but she doesn't weaponize it. She doesn't collapse into victimhood, nor does she lash out with cruelty. She knows how to breathe, to pause, to respond with clarity instead of reaction. That is strength. That is power. That is unforgettable. Because let's be honest, disappointment is guaranteed. He will say the wrong thing. He will fail to meet an expectation. He will let you down at times. And in those moments, he isn't only seeing the situation, he's seeing you. He's asking himself silently, will she punish me forever for a mistake? Will she turn every argument into a battlefield? Will she make pressure heavier, or will she help me carry it? The truth is, every man wants to know, can I build with her? Can I trust her in the storms, not just in the sunshine? Can I make mistakes and still be safe with her? That's the real test, because attraction may bring him close, but it is trust that makes him stay. Handling pressure doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It doesn't mean you stay silent when you're hurt. It means you express without destruction. It means you communicate without cruelty. It means you can stand in the fire of frustration without burning the whole relationship down. And here's the paradox. When you show composure in disappointment, you don't become weak. You become magnetic, because it takes incredible strength to stay steady when emotions surge. It takes discipline to choose clarity over chaos. It takes self-respect to say, I'm upset, but I will not destroy my dignity to prove it. That is the kind of strength that makes a man see you differently. That is the kind of strength he cannot forget. Think of it like this. Disappointment is a doorway. Walk through it with grace and you build trust. Walk through it with chaos and you destroy it. The choice is always in your hands. And men feel this. They feel whether they can approach you with truth, even if it's uncomfortable. They feel whether they can disagree with you without paying an emotional penalty. They feel whether they can fail without being crucified. And if the answer is yes, they know you are rare. But if the answer is no, if every mistake leads to punishment, he will retreat. Not because he doesn't care, but because constant punishment makes connection impossible. No one wants to live in a courtroom where every disappointment becomes a trial. No one wants to invest in a relationship where pressure always explodes into chaos. Attraction may bring him in, but pressure will push him out if you cannot handle it. So the real power is this. Keep your dignity under disappointment. Hold your ground under pressure. Show that your emotions are strong, but your self-control is stronger. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to attack to be respected. You don't need to destroy to make your point. True strength is calm in the storm. True power is composure in the fire. And when you master that, everything shifts. He sees you not only as someone he desires, but as someone he can depend on. He sees that life with you will not only be exciting, but also safe. He sees that pressure will not break you and disappointment will not destroy you. That is the foundation of respect. That is the foundation of devotion. So remember this, life will test you, love will test you, people will disappoint you, pressure will come. But the question is not whether those things happen. The question is who you will be when they do. Will you lose yourself to emotion or will you rise above it? Will you collapse under pressure or will you stand taller? That is the test. Because in the end, the strongest person in the room is never the one who shouts the loudest or reacts the fastest. The strongest person is the one who stays composed when others lose control. And the woman who passes this test is not only respected, she is treasured. Because every man knows that storms will come, and the woman who can stand in them without breaking is the woman he never wants to let go. The moment your entire world starts revolving around someone else is the moment they stop respecting the gravity of your presence. This is one of the most important tests a man gives a woman, not by asking, not by planning, but simply by observing. He wants to see if you have a life, a vision, a mission that exists beyond him. Because attraction may bring him close, but direction is what makes him stay. A man knows this instinctively. If your only purpose is him, then you will depend on him for your sense of worth, your sense of joy, your sense of identity. And that weight is not attractive. That weight becomes a burden. The truth is, nobody wants to be somebody's only source of meaning. It's not romantic, it's suffocating. So he watches. He notices whether your life continues to move even when he is not there. He sees if you still pursue your passions, your career, your friendships, your growth. He sees if you still have a world that is full and vibrant without his presence. Because if your world shrinks down to his size, he knows the relationship will not elevate him. It will trap him. The woman who passes this test is rare. She is already moving forward, already building something bigger than the relationship. She has her own goals, her own dreams, her own fire. And because she has direction, she doesn't look to him to complete her. She invites him to join her. She doesn't need him to create her life. She already has one. And that makes her magnetic. Men respect women who respect their own purpose. They are drawn to the ones who don't abandon their passions for love. They admire the woman who makes time for him, but doesn't lose herself in him, because that woman brings balance, inspiration, and energy into the relationship. She adds, instead of subtracting, she expands instead of shrinking. But when you fail this test, the opposite happens. You stop investing in yourself. You stop chasing your goals. You make him the center of your world, and in doing so, you lose yourself. At first, he might enjoy the attention, but over time, he begins to feel the weight of being your everything. And no matter how much he loves you, that weight will start to crush his attraction. The irony is this: many women give up their direction to prove devotion. They believe sacrificing their life shows commitment. But what it really shows is dependence. And dependence never inspires long-term respect. It creates imbalance. It creates resentment. It creates a dynamic where one person is forced to carry the responsibility of two lives. That's not love. That's captivity. Having direction doesn't mean neglecting love. It doesn't mean being unavailable. It means having a vision that makes your life meaningful, with or without him. It means you are building something that matters. It means you are not waiting for someone else to hand you purpose. You are already walking in it. And here's the truth. When you have direction, you become more attractive because you radiate energy, you shine with ambition, you move with clarity. A man feels it instantly, the sense that you don't need him, but you choose him. And that difference is everything, because people value what they know is chosen, not what is clung to out of fear. Think about it. If you abandon yourself for him, what are you really offering? A shell of the person you once were. But if you remain committed to your own direction, you bring the best of yourself into the relationship. You bring depth, purpose, and inspiration. You become not just a partner in love, but a partner in growth. And that is the kind of connection that lasts. Passing this test is not about pretending you don't care. It's not about acting detached. It's about being full of life, full of ambition, full of movement. It's about showing that your relationship is not your whole identity. It is a powerful addition to a life already rich with meaning. And when he sees this, he feels something rare. He feels challenged in the best way. He feels inspired to rise to your level, to match your pace, to grow alongside you. Because a man doesn't want to lead someone who has no direction. He wants to partner with someone who is already moving forward. That partnership creates momentum. And momentum is irresistible. So the question is simple. If he disappeared tomorrow, where would your life go? Would it collapse into nothing, or would it keep moving with purpose? Would you lose yourself, or would you keep building the life you were meant to live? That answer is the real test, because the woman who passes it is unshakable. She loves deeply, but she never loses herself in love. She gives fully, but she never abandons her mission. She shares her world, but she never lets it shrink. And that balance creates a force no man wants to let go of, because in the end, the most attractive woman is not the one who makes a man her entire life. It's the one who already has a life worth living and invites him to grow inside it. That is the test. And that is the woman who will never be taken for granted, because her direction is her power, and her power is what makes her unforgettable. The moment someone knows you'll never walk away is the moment they stop giving you their best. This is the ultimate test a man gives a woman, not by asking, not by declaring it out loud, but by quietly pushing the boundaries of what you will tolerate. He wants to know, consciously or not, how far he can go before you draw the line. And the truth is, nothing reveals your strength more than your willingness to walk away from what no longer serves you. Here's why. If he senses you will endure anything just to keep him, he no longer has to rise. He no longer has to give effort. He no longer has to protect the connection, because he knows you are more afraid of losing him than you are of losing yourself. And the second that imbalance is clear, the respect begins to fade. But when he realizes you can walk away, when he feels that your standards matter more than your attachment, everything shifts. He knows he cannot play with your time because you won't waste it. He knows he cannot offer crumbs because you won't accept them. He knows that if he does not show up fully, you will not hesitate to leave. That knowledge changes the way he treats you. It forces him to value what is not guaranteed. This test is not about pride. It's not about arrogance. It's about self-respect. It's about proving that your love is a gift, not a cage. That being with you is a privilege, not an entitlement. That you are willing to love deeply, but never at the cost of your dignity. And here's the paradox. The willingness to walk away doesn't push the right man out. It pulls him closer. Because when he feels you are not afraid to lose him, he realizes you are with him by choice, not by need. And nothing is more powerful than being chosen by someone who doesn't have to choose you. But when you fail this test, the story is different. You cling, you beg, you tolerate, you allow patterns that break your heart but refuse to break the connection. And every time you do, you teach him one thing: he can do less and you will still be there. That's when attraction dies. That's when respect vanishes. That's when the relationship becomes a shadow of what it could have been. The truth is, men and people in general test not because they want to hurt you, but because they want to see your truth. They want to see if your words about self-respect are real or just talk. They want to see if your boundaries hold or if they collapse when love is on the line. And the woman who passes is the one who makes it clear: I want you, but I don't need you. I choose you, but I do not depend on you. And if you can't meet me where I stand, I will walk away. That energy is rare. That energy is powerful. That energy is unforgettable. Walking away doesn't always mean ending the relationship. It means you are always willing to. It means you are never so desperate that you will abandon your standards. It means you can let go of what doesn't honor you to create space for what does. And ironically, that's what makes the right man want to stay, because he knows you're not chained to him, you're free. And freedom is attractive. This is why you must practice walking away from less everywhere in your life. Walk away from conversations that waste your energy. Walk away from jobs that drain your spirit. Walk away from friendships that diminish your worth. The more you practice walking away from what is beneath you, the stronger your energy becomes. And that strength will show up in your relationships. A man will feel it. He will know instantly whether you are a woman who clings out of fear or a woman who chooses out of strength. And when you are tested, you won't need to shout. You won't need to threaten. You won't need to prove. You'll simply act. And in that action, the test will be passed. Because the woman who can walk away is the woman who will never be controlled. She will never be played. She will never be forgotten. So remember this, love is powerful, but only when it's chosen freely. Devotion is beautiful, but only when it's built on respect. And respect is earned not when you hold on at all costs, but when you're willing to let go if the cost is too high.